I am excited. Tonight we're going to go a little bit more into technical, but not too deep. So those of you who are scared, it'll be okay. It won't be painful. For those of you who are interested, we're going to show you some of the top concerns you need to be looking at when you're self-editing. So my name is JoEllen. I'm from firstediting.com, and we do professional editing since 1994. Over 50,000 editors or authors have been through us, and we are inside of ProWritingAid's online tool and their app and all that. So if at any time you need an editor, a human, as they refer to us, we're on the right hand, there's a little tab there on the right hand side, and you can click on that and we send free samples and show you how it's done. So with that being said, let's share my screen and get started. And again, thank you for coming. I know that this is a big commitment for everyone, and it's really great to have you here. So today we are going to talk about how to perform a sentence level copy edit. Let me just click on this so we can get started. And you know, at the end of this, all of these PowerPoint screens that I provide, I do include them as a PDF, so you can go to our website and download them. It's, you know, it's all free. You know, you've done all you need to do there, but go ahead and click on the link and we'll share that with you. I have put that up there for Michelle to share with you. So we're going to talk a little bit about copy editing. As you may remember, there are 3 levels of editing, more or less. You know, you can get fine-tuned, but we're going to stick with 3. We have the content edit, which is the high-level structural edit. The substantive edit is when you have an idea and you're trying to get the concept clear and make sure it's cohesive and all of your thoughts are there and that it's supported by all of the different story elements or all of the different proposals if you're doing research or however, whichever genre you're dealing in, that it is a strong format. And that's performed by content editors, story editors, substantive editors, developmental editors, whichever you want to say. We're not talking about that today, but I'm just letting you know that that's one of the first level of editing if you need that help. And again, editing is something where it's done because you need it or it's done because you want it. So it's back and forth dance there. The second level is line editing. This is when you're talking to an agent or a professor or a colleague and they say, you really need to get this edited. Unless there's big holes in your overall manuscript in the way that it should suffice, if they're just talking about your grammar, your spelling, your punctuation, your syntax, your flow, your overall, all of those things that make you sound and give you your voice to your readers and engage your readers, because that's who you're writing for. You're not writing for yourself, you're actually writing for an audience. If you need that type of editing, then you're looking for a professional line editor. And they do give you feedback, they do make some changes, they can do all of this for you, but they're not moving, say, one chapter to the beginning or end. So that's the second level of editing. And then the third part is copy editing. And copy editing, as you know, when we use tools in that, the tools are giving you a lot of great support and structure on how to become self-aware, how to improve your writing day to day, be it in your manuscript, in your emails, in your communication, whatever you're writing, whatever you're doing. And that's the great thing in your text. So it's all there, but it is a support is not a replacement for a professional editor. There are some of you, but I'm going to say you're in the lower percentage, who can skip these different professional editors, but it's always good to find out and make sure that you're not overlooking that. So today we're going to talk about the sentence level copy edits. This is your grammar, spelling, punctuation, correction of syntax, and making sure that it's coherent and fluid and it doesn't cause any discombobulation or something like that for your readers. And we are going to go through this and how it works. So you're going to, when you first start a sentence level copy edit, and this is, you do this level of editing prior to formatting. Prior to formatting. Do not skip copy editing. If you've done all the other editing yourself and you've only used beta readers or whatever, it is the essential part that I really encourage you to have a professional come in, because it is your final self-defense before you start distributing or doing whatever you're going to do with that book. So please make sure. And then once you've formatted, if you upload it to any kind of platform, it's always well worth doing a proofread. Proofread is just making sure that it wasn't messed up in the upload and that you still, it's like a secondary copy edit in that they're looking for the grammar, spelling, punctuation. You may have noticed that I have mentioned that each of these levels of editing require an editor who is specifically trained in that area. So today we're going to go behind the scenes so that you can learn how to do copy edits like a pro and what we're looking for. Starting with looking for wordiness, which when you're talking like me, you're allowed to do. But when you're writing, you're not. So you want to keep it clean. Jargon. Jargon means when you are using, if I say POV, instead of saying, and POV to a military person may be a personally owned vehicle, but POV to a writer may be the point of view. So you want to skip using acronyms and things like that. You want to use a base language where everybody understands, and that's important in the copy edit. Somebody who's, really able to come in and read this, and you've supported anything that you may have put in there. We're looking for errors, grammar, spelling, punctuation, and the syntax in general. You're going to identify convoluted sentences, meaning if you can cut that sentence up into 2 or 3 separate complete sentences, we encourage you to do so for a couple of reasons, not only for the ease of reading, but also in today's world, you are reading on a telephone, you are reading on a pad, you're reading on a screen almost always, and that is essential for your readers to keep that in mind. It means you don't want really long, never-ending paragraphs. You need to keep it in bite size so it lays out, it's not exhausting for your readers. This is something that's new. This is the world evolving, but it's something that you should be aware of and make it easier for your readers, because the more enjoyable, the easier it is for them to get through, the more they will come back and ask for more, and the more they love you and talk about you and share that to all of the other people. And what that means for you is you increase your audience. So we want to focus, as I'm saying, on simplicity and clarity in what we're saying by making the sentences simple, by using terms that are common for everyone and doing so. So you want to shorten your sentences. You want to use that common language I spoke about. Grammar and syntax. If you don't know this, use a tool or get a professional editor. I cannot teach you that in the 60 minutes that we have tonight, but I can outline some of the most common mistakes, and so that you're aware of that. And then I can also explain to you how to better use tools to help you learn more about yourself, become self-aware, and to do that. So be precise in everything that you do. Again, back to that simplicity. And what this means in a sentence is that if you can have a subject, verb, object, if that's your choice in active tense, go with it. It's just the best choice. And believe me, it doesn't change your proposition. It just makes it easier for the reader. So as I mentioned, copy editors are trained. They're vetted professionals. They have additional training. They have experience they should have experience in the publishing industry with agents in-house and all those different things. They're providing the technical review, the final review of your manuscript before you format, and this is what you're doing. So today you're talking about self-editing your sentences at the sentence level, and this is what we're covering. Now, editing itself, as I mentioned, there are 3 levels and 3 different types of editors, more or less. This means that editing is not linear, even though we like to say, do this, do that, and go directly. What happens is creativity creates this beautiful mess of more creativity. So when you change the construction or the overall structural proposal that you're making with your manuscript, you may move it or change it in such a way that you need to add or remove that, which means you wouldn't go directly onto line edited copy editing. You might need to go back for some more revisions and be comfortable in the process. Here you'll notice that I do recommend you become familiar with the different professionals out there who can help you with this. ProWritingAid is leading the way there. Of course, we're with First Editing, and we are in combination with Fictionary, who has trained all of our editors for story editing in the fiction area. But we also have all of our PhD editors for research and academia, and of course, all of our nonfiction writers for the motivational, inspirational, educational types of writing. It also includes memoirs, which may or may not fit into the literature. That we're using our book coaches, we're we are extensively training them. So make sure, and I'm not saying that you have to go with us, but whoever you choose at some point, go ahead and reach out and make sure that they have a proven background and ask them for the references and things like that. But we won't talk so much about that today. So the copy edit is learn how to do it like a pro. And we use professional software. We use professional tools, we train ourselves, and we remain highly aware of our work all the time. So do your grammar, spelling, punctuation prior to formatting because it's hard to do after. So one of the things that I think is most important before you start your copy editing is that you want to keep the editing process separate from the actual editing process. What this means is that you go ahead and if you are whatever, there's no right or wrong here. Please understand that you need to find your groove there, whatever works for you. But if you're writing for the day, I encourage you to do all of your work for that day, and then you can choose to edit immediately afterwards, but do it with a separate state of mind. Okay, now I'm done. I'm no longer being creative. I'm going to start editing. Or if you're going to wait to the end of the week, fine, have a time that's set apart separately so that the editing is not intermingling. Writing is creative, it's subjective. Editing is logical and objective, and there are rules for everything we're doing there. So you're going to proof it in sections and you want to take a break. If you can't switch, and it's not a surprise, you can be exhausted. You are so deep into your story that you often cannot identify things that you may not have explained clearly or supported any statements that you may have had. So you need to make sure that you do that. So take a break and then come back. That can be a day, it could be months, it could be a year, whatever works for you. But just return to it at a point when you are looking at it in that logical, removed, semi-neutral position, and you're just looking for the strength of your story. So you're going to do the developmental, then technical, as I mentioned, for the editing. And these are entirely different phases and different processes. So make sure you're doing that. So start with the self-editing tools. Obviously, I think if you're here, you are working with ProWritingAid and you're using their tool. They have the app that works brilliantly. They have the tool online. I encourage you to sign up. We, of course, use that in our repertoire of our professional tools. So this helps you. So it will help you to learn. And that's the great thing. It's like having this intelligent assistant sitting on your shoulder who's reaching in and saying, hey, did you really mean this? Did you mean that? And if you don't know, that's okay. It will remain highlighted. You do not have to accept. In fact, the #1 rule always with editors and writers is never accept all. Never. I'm going to repeat that. Never accept all. You need to look at each individual concern that the editing tool has. And if you're confident that it is correct, then go with it. If you're not confident or if you don't know the answer, let it remain. And if you think that it is right and you may be wrong, you can choose. Do you need to check somebody? Do you need to get backup on this? Or can you just go ahead and accept it? So be careful because, again, sometimes you can break the rules with reason for creativity, but you really need to be somebody who's had experience, and that's where the professional, vetted, trained, certified editors come in. So you want to detect and correct technical writing issues. Again, it's back to the grammar, the structure of your sentences, again, making it as simple and clear as possible, and looking at your spelling. If you struggle with any of these areas, please get familiar with what are your specific weaknesses and then look for them. You can do a search and find and replace and do all these different things, but be aware, use the tools, ProWritingAid, and it'll help you a lot. Also punctuation, if commas are just really beating you down, then make sure that you start to learn how to deal with those commas. So the self-editing tools are going to help you correct the basics, not the overall structural, developmental, substantive. They may not even be helpful with the voice. It is getting better and better, but they definitely have the hardcore rules, the syntax, the grammar, the spelling, the punctuation. So follow those. You're going to learn about style. And one of the great things is when you use these professional tools, such as an online editing tool, that you can choose what type of writing you're doing. So that means if you are providing business writing or fiction writing, nonfiction, whatever it may be, you just simply make sure that you check that so it will be looking for the correct ways. If you're writing in business, you may be using third person inactive quite a bit, you may be using inactive verb tenses quite a lot. So it's okay. It's okay. You don't need a lot of active tenses. So just make sure that you allow the tool to help you, and then to always consciously, and I'm going to guess everyone who's here, I mean, you're already committing, so I'm maybe just preaching to the choir, but that you are becoming mindful, unaware, and proactive in becoming a master of your craft. So that is very important. And the tools help you do that. So recognize your different writing styles, set the pace for that, and then you can self-edit with ease. Hopefully it'll get faster. There is a learning curve. It will take a lot of time, and that's okay. You know, some of us haven't been back to the grammar, spelling, punctuation basics since 4th, 5th, 6th grade, right? But we love writing. Now we can write very fast with our thumbs, but fortunately that doesn't really make us the best writers because it's not always correcting us in the right way. So make sure that you are committed to becoming a better editor of your own writing. And also some of the easy things about doing that is read the genres in which you're writing. The more you read, the more it will go in subconsciously, and the more you read, the better writer you become, and honestly, the better editor you will become too, because there are patterns in our brain that are caught subconsciously that are fixed as we go along there. So when you're using the tools, it's going to look at all these different particular syntax, and then it's going to give you stats, and it'll send you the weekly or monthly, however you set it up. And it's going to provide those suggestions. Never accept all, but go through them individually and make sure that you agree with them, and use the summary report. If at some point later on, whenever you go to get your professional editor, you are more than welcome to include that. In fact, editors love that, love it, because it allows us to see what we need to be aware of on your behalf. So use these reports and try the copy editing tool if you're not already. I'm going to guess everybody does. So when you're doing the self-editing, don't edit while writing, separate it, edit the manuscript immediately after, only if that works for you. Take a pause, take a break, start from the back, read it out loud. You can start with the last chapter, read through, last chapter, move your way back. You can read out loud, that helps. You learn a lot, and you also can get some beta readers in there, but they're not your editors as much as they're just helping you with the overall concept. So if we're going to be looking for this, when we're self-editing, we did a self-editing school performance a while back that was based upon the 10 common self-editing mistakes. And I have the link in here. We'll drop it here in the forum. And I do encourage you to go ahead and to include that. But when you have this, there are grammar mistakes. And this was done by some major universities. If you go to the website and read the blog, I've actually included where this information came from. The grammar mistakes is one of the top ones. Misspelling and typos, of course, and that's very hard to catch sometimes. The punctuation errors, that's really good with the self-editing tool. Citation inaccuracy. You need to know what style guide, what manual you're using, what are you writing, so that all of your citations, your references, your footnotes, all of those absolutely fit to the format that is required. You will not be accepted by your review committee, by your professor, by your peers, by the agency, the publishing house, if you're not following their rules. Some will have in-house style guides. Make sure that you get them off of their websites and follow them. If you are having troubles with that, when you talk to your professional editor, please send that along so that they know from the beginning. The more instructions you can use, the more concerns you can be, the less struggle your editor will have, and the more value you will get from your investment. And again, editing is not a cheap or quick solution. It is something that professionals do to make you look good. There are millions of writers out there right now who are typing away and eager to become the next bestseller. You are competing with them. You're competing for the audience, and you need to make sure that you have some professionals on your back who can help you to achieve what you need and make that first right impression, because you get it one shot. So let's see here. So the grammar, the writing weaknesses, and then we have the word omissions or the wrong words there. T-H-E-R-E, T-H-E-I-R, T-H-Y apostrophe R-E. It happens to all of us. You just need to make sure that by stepping away, by giving yourself time when you're doing that self-editing, that you can come back and you'll be more aware of that. If you read it when you are still in the overall concept of what you've written, you will simply not be able to see it. You're so far in the woods, you can't see the trees. Structural blunders are very, very important. So you need to take a look at those. And as I mentioned, don't rely solely on the software. If it's, track changes on Word, or if it's ProWritingAid or whatever you're using, make sure that you're not relying solely on them, that you are getting some feedback and you are dedicated to finding the mistakes. Everybody has mistakes. It's good. Find them. It's an exciting adventure. Make sure you stay with the writing till you're done before you get to the editing, and then go through on those. And you need to be using these self-editing techniques. But again, when you are tired, frustrated, or just confused, contact a professional. They can help you, even if it's just with one page. It's worth it. You will breathe easier and sleep better. So here's a link to the 10 common editing mistakes. We have it on our website there. And we also have the handout there for that particular blog on our website. So I do encourage you to go to our website and pick that up. The mistakes that you're going to find, let's look at some of those grammar mistakes. So pronoun references, if they're vague, you don't know if it's he, she, you need to make sure that you've referred to them as a proper noun within that same sentence. Again, if these are unfamiliar with you, it's not going to be possible to teach you all of this in an hour, but keep a list and start looking for these particular, because these are the most common by a couple of huge research that was done in the writing community. Sentence structure, again, back to the clarity. If you can choose to have a subject, verb, and object, that's your best choice. If you can break down a long sentence into 2 or more, I encourage you to do so, because it makes it easier for your readers. In the same way, a long, convoluted sentence is hard for the speaker to say without taking a pause. It is the same energy for the brain to take in when they're reading. They're looking for the commas, they're looking for the fast stops, the periods at the end of the structure to let them breathe. Make sure that your verb tense is solid. Don't shift. Unless you're going into a flashback or something like that, be sure that you are solid in that. And if you are struggling, again, look into this. There's lots of great, I would encourage you, if you want to really learn more, go into or Google, just Google writing centers. And there's some great ones out there, Purdue University and Michigan and many, many more, who have really great online tutorials and really great opportunities to read and do it. It's free. It's just out there for all of their students, and you are welcome to use it. So make sure that you look into those. And again, I would just Google Writing Center, especially if you're doing research. And it also applies for all of the fiction too. Run-on sentences, again, just convoluted, too long, too much. Make them short. If you can say it simply, do so. And then if you don't have a pronoun or an antecedent agreement, you need to make sure that they are always agreeing there. And again, if you don't understand this, please take the time to look it up. It's not the end of the world. And if you're tired, that's not the end of the world either. That's why we exist. Editors love this. Not everybody loves it, but editors do. So sentence fragments, that's going to be going on there. So make sure that they are, it has a subject, object, verb in between. Make sure that it's said in a way that is interesting and inspiring to your readers, not necessarily to you. Look for misplaced or dangling modifiers. Again, jump on, learn all you can here. And even as an editor, I mean, I have a team who are busy all the time. So I'm not going to dig into these because I'm not the best person on your specific sentence or your specific clause or whatever it is you're looking at. But again, if you can, I don't know how many of you remember, but do you remember when you had to diagram sentences and they had all these little trees coming off? This is part of that hill coming back to life. Use and look for the pronoun cases, make sure that they're used correctly. And if you're using a wrong word, that creates the confusion I mentioned there earlier. And that's really hard to identify. So that's why it's important to take those breaks before you start editing, or to have somebody who's neutral, who just naturally says, oh, that popped out. I'm sure if we all raised our hands here, we've read a bestseller and we've all found a typo or an error in there. We're humans. That's okay. That's the beauty of being human. So learn the grammar rules as best you can. It will take time. You will not be able to do it on one book or one manuscript. It will take one manuscript, sorry. It will take dedication and devotion. It will take reading and writing and learning, but use the tools that are available and stick with it. You want to eliminate all of your misspelling and typos. Use your spell check. Use it again and again. I'm using ProWritingAid, but also Word has a spell check and sometimes they're overlapping. Now Google Docs also has that going on there. There's so many available. They're free. It's just worth that little 2-second of, oh, no, that's exactly what I meant. Or no, oh, I didn't see that. If there's a red line on your screen, bing, 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 pay attention, because that's what we're looking for. That's your free help right there online to fix it. And spelling is easiest ones out there. Your languages, if you're writing in British English or American English or Canadian English or Australian English or whatever, wherever you are, European, Indian, whatever it may be, make sure that it's matching your readers. And again, that goes back to our style manual, and it goes back to using the tools that we've enlisted correctly. And that means that you have chosen that language in the settings of your editing tool. Use that when you hire a professional editor. Include in your instructions who you're writing for. If you want it British English or American English, whatever it may be, indicate that. Indicate if you want to maintain some dialogue in there which is unique to the voice and you don't want it corrected. You want to have that dialect showing through. So make sure that you're doing this in the right way, but always give more information than you could possibly think we need to your editor, and they will help you. Run a report. It's very helpful. You can run it in sections, or you can run it on the entire document. When we work with Fictionary, they have a fantastic tool that you put it in as a fiction editor, and it outlines your story arc from start to end. And it's just amazing what artificial intelligence can do. So make sure that you're using all the tools you can. That's what editors are using. And then we're using on top of that, the advanced skills. So we're showing you the behind the scenes of what we're looking at and what it takes, so that hopefully you can start self-editing better and save yourself time and money. Punctuation. Wow. Punctuation is a tough one. For some people, it'll really get you down. And there it is, folks. Commas. Commas are beasts that must be tamed. They're often omitted, misused, they're superfluous, or they're spliced. And all of those things you need to Google if you don't understand it. And if you don't understand it, it's okay. It's okay. It's Thursday. It's almost the weekend. Give yourself a pat on the back that you're here and you're learning all about it step by step. Mechanical quotation errors. So you're making sure that you're using the quotations correctly. And if you have unnecessary or missing capitalization, very, very, very important that you're aware of proper nouns and how to use capitalization to the best way. Again, the world is changing, and heaven forbid somebody should be reading your document and their editing tool is showing all of your mistakes. So you want to have this clear and complete before you share, distribute, or submit to your peers, your academia, your friends, family, and or self-publishing, an agent, or the publishing house. Needless or misplaced apostrophes happens all the time. They're, they insert it because it's just there. And it's really distracting and it's like nails on the chalkboard for an editor when they see it done again and again. But make sure that you are absolutely 100% positive on how to use that apostrophe. And if not, look it up. Again, you can Google it all. You can get help online. You can use a tool, or you can call a professional. Poorly integrated quotations. You need to be consistent. However you are making quotations in your document, it needs to be the same way throughout. Do not change the format or the display in any way, shape, or form. This is absolutely vital, and it is a rule now. Again, people are reading, and you want to make it easy, so the clarity can also come from the simple method that you're using to display your ideas. And that means that you are consistent in your formatting. Absent hyphens, they're dispensable. Make sure you know how to use the hyphen, different types of hyphens. And again, even I looked this all up. So please don't beat yourself over the head. Just understand that those are the top ones that most people are struggling with, which puts you in the majority if you're struggling with this too. Online tools help. Books, grammar manuals, online searches, references, courses, they're all available there if you want to learn. Reading, if you're interested in becoming, if you want to do that, heck, all of our editors have to be certified as a story coach for fiction. So if you're interested in doing that, you can actually take that course yourself. Contact me and I can get you hooked up on a really good deal. So we have reading. Read, because it makes you a better writer. It makes you a better editor. It helps you perform and do everything that you need to do. And get the help whenever you do it, at any point when you're tired of editing. Citations, again, you need to know what a manual, a style guide, whichever one you're using, and you need to stick with it throughout. If you are submitting to a specific agency or publishing house, and you would do so if your writing is in the same genre and your favorite author was published or distributed by them, then you want to make sure that you have their guidelines, that you are following their rules. If you don't follow, they will simply delete because it's just too many people out there and they don't have time to teach you. So you need to teach yourself before you go there. So citations, you need to follow a style manual. If you don't have one, then you look in your genre. What is the standard there? Is it the APA or whatever it may be? Use an online citation machine. There are loads of them online. You just plug it in and it can fix it for you. But make sure it's always checked. In the same way that you can use tools for the editing and tools for your writing, it's always good to have a professional go over it in the end to make sure that it is consistent. Because if you, for some reason, and it shouldn't, but if you use an old version of that style manual, say version 7 versus version 9, and it is outdated, it may be correct, but it's wrong because you're not using the most relevant and up-to-date style guide. Editors know this, and you need to just check that online. You can do all of this yourself, you can, but make sure that you know what you're looking for and you know what the rules are. So you can always get professional help there. Never, never rely solely on the self-editing because it's always good to get help. So you can get humans who are available. As I mentioned, we're inside of ProWritingAid. We provide free samples. If you are looking for a professional editor, there are freelancers out there. I always encourage you to beware of the cheapest. In this world, we're in a pandemic right now, and everybody wants to be an editor. An editor is certified, trained, vetted. They go through a process of getting approved. And in our particular organization, we also offer a satisfaction guarantee, which means we need to know that the quality is 100%. So be sure that you're looking for those kinds and that you can see their history of who they've worked with, that they are experts in your genre. that they have successfully helped others publish, that they're familiar with that. Ask about their backgrounds in the publishing industry, or if they're an academic, that they're a PhD, whatever they have, that they're in a subject matter expert for whatever you're doing. Are they in a level 1 high impact journal? Whatever it may be, make sure that whatever you aspire to be, that the editor has helped others achieve that. Okay? And again, check it out in ProWritingAid. Hire only qualified ones. Use the tools. Always self-edit. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing this program now, because again, use those top 10. Start to learn those. If you don't know them, just be aware. And I encourage you to tick them off one by one so that you can see how well you can teach yourself, because it does take time. And remember that revision is the process. I am also a yoga teacher, and I fully believe in engaging in the process. You do not arrive, you're simply on a journey. And that's why we actually have an ebook, Your Editing Journey. So make sure you download that too. But more so, be solid and okay that you're not going to do it all in one day. It takes time, it takes commitment, and it takes learning. And learning is something that takes time. And that's beautiful. Just enjoy it. Oops, let's see here. So final copy edits happen before the formatting. Proofreading happens after the formatting. You will self-edit again and again and again and again, and that's fine. Most of your revisions happen at a line edit level. You'll remember that we did the content edit, a line edit, and the copy edit, which is your final one before you go. There are, on occasion, times when we say you don't need a copy edit, because they're so fantastic. We know that we've gone through their structural and their lines, and they're good. But I would only skip it if a professional says you can. And they're going to be honest with you. They're going to tell you exactly what you need, and you can tell them exactly what you want. And the editing you get will be a combination between those two, what you need and what you want. Do not work with an editor who will agree to providing you with anything less than what you need, because it's only going to be a disgrace to you and to the editor. Use the online editing tool like ProWritingAid. Use the reports, run the services, make sure that you know which type of English you're using. That's what we're talking about today. We're not doing Spanish or whatever. So if it's British, American, whatever it may be, that you're in the same genre. Are you writing business? Are you writing academic? Are you writing fiction, nonfiction? Make sure that you use those and run the reports so that you can get that information and learn about yourself, be self-aware, be mindful in your writing so that you can master your craft. So run a report. You can click on that. That is actually a link there. And for the last round, always contact a professional if you haven't already contacted them at the beginning. The best place to start with an editor is as soon as you are frustrated or need one, but always at the beginning to make sure that you have a solid foundation from the beginning to end. You'll see here, we have a little icon. Click on that. You can contact us. We provide a free sample. So when you're doing this, make sure that complete all the levels of editing. Glad to answer any questions again and again. We have loads of downloads on these different levels of editing. We have more videos available. And currently we're doing a 38 story elements series on YouTube. So you can follow along there if you're in fiction. So we're trying to provide you as much as we can. Be prepared to revise. That's on you. Basically, there's nobody in the world who doesn't use a coach at this point. Any professional, anybody who wishes to succeed, take themselves to a higher level, they are using coach. And an editor is basically that. They are coaching you through your strengths and your weaknesses so that you become better and better. So be prepared for that. Be prepared that even though the coach can tell you what you need and what you're doing well and what you need to improve, that they still put it back on you. You still have to do the work yourself. So that's writing. Editor may do some revisions. They may do some rewriting on your behalf, but overall, it's ultimately, you can only get stronger if you're the one lifting the load and pulling your weight in the efforts. So format your manuscript, upload it to platform. I love Kobo, and there's many others out there. So go ahead and work on those. Get your self-editing knowledge and your skills over time. Take your time. some fantastic tools out there to work with. Look for editors when you need it. Here's the ebook I mentioned. I did include that, I forgot, yes. So it is a journey, so make sure you check that out. Again, you can get these downloads. They're here in the chat, and I'll make sure I upload it one more time. So if you want to go through this, I know it's not enough time, and I feel like it's a lot, but it's at the same point, you need to walk away with one golden nugget from each of these seminars. And part of that is, if you can improve one thing and become a stronger writer, you're succeeding. You can't do it all in one shot. So focus on one part of becoming strong. If commas are what is killing you, then conquer the commas, whatever it may be. Professional copy editing, again, if you're looking for, those are specific editors for copy editing. They are trained. And so they're also trained in their genre. So if you need fiction or nonfiction, technical for academics, and then of course the substantive and not technical for scientific researchers who are publishing in journals, please contact an appropriate editor. And of course we provide all of those. So that is why we have first editing and then publishing. If you'd like to call us or email us, here's our information. Again, you can download all of this so that you can review it later, and we will help you. So first editing, then publishing. And I did include, I believe here, yes, on the last page, I wanted to send this in. If you're still on the higher level, substantive editing, certified editors, we're the first ones in the world, and we're very proud of that. And it's amazing how not only working with Fictionary, but also working with ProWritingAid, integrating artificial intelligence, integrating bots, and all of this, you know, intelligent assistance in with the professionals is really amazing what's happening out there, and you need to be on board because it's going to keep going. So let's see here. I believe that's it. We're going to, oopsie daisy. There, you stopped it. Good.
All right. Thanks,
Hi,
Michelle.
Michelle.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
We do have some questions.
I'm sure.
We'll get started, and then if anybody else has any questions to submit, go ahead and get those in the Q&A box now, and we'll try to get through as many of them as we can in the next 15 minutes. Okay, so the first question, regarding acronyms, how do you correctly say United States and Internal Revenue Service in your writing? Can you simply type US and IRS?
You can, but you need to preempt it by introducing the full title first. I mean, that's the standard there. So again, I would just, if you Google IRS or United States and you put the acronyms in and you put them like United States versus US versus U.S.A period with all the periods, they're going to do it. But the solution for you is going to be that no matter which one you choose, because it will be right or wrong, it has to be the same throughout. So consistency way outweighs if you're right or wrong. As long as you stick with it, you know, if you're going to make a mistake, make it big. So whatever you're going to do. But if you're, depending upon who you're writing for and how it's been used in your genre or in your area, then I would encourage you to go along. And then of course, if it's being used in dialogue, that's a little different too. But Google it so that you know, and then choose what it is and put it in your little find and search. If you do find and replace, then you'll make sure that you see it everywhere throughout your entire manuscript and that it is consistent throughout.
Okay, our next question. I'm not always certain what type of editing I want ProWritingAid to do. Is there a place I can look for examples or definitions of the differences between the different types of business or the different types of casual, blogs, etc.?
Correct. If you're looking, I would say ProWritingAid far exceeds your wildest expectations here. So you can go up in the right hand of the settings and you can click on that and you should see a drop down of the different types of writing and styles. And then if you go onto their website, you can get help there. They have been implementing so much information to let it compare. So if you're not sure, you can pick a general one if you're just doing general business. But if, say, you're in fiction, they've actually divided it into, you know, what types of fiction, if it's, you know, romance versus science fiction, whatever it may be, detective stories, whatever. My brain's getting tired, by the way. So you can look it up, but look into the settings and run a report. And you will find that if you, just to test it, if you change your settings and you run the same report with different settings, you're going to get different results. It's pretty amazing.
Okay. Why is the beta readers process before ProWritingAid? Don't we want to avoid distracting them with lousy grammar, etc.?
It's not necessarily ProWritingAid you're using from beginning to end, so it's your editing tool. So you will use that before, during, and after. So yes, you should go ahead and do the copy editing always as the bare minimum before you go to beta readers. But of course, if you want to, beta readers are evaluating not your grammar, spelling, punctuation. They're going to be distracted, as you said. You're absolutely correct. However, they're looking at, does this appeal to me? Is, you promised me, it's like Stephen King. Is it? Am I enjoying it the same way? Am I reacting the same way? And these are people who are not professionals. They are people who enjoy what they're doing and they have very strong opinions and they will share them freely. So just be aware, don't overload yourself. But yes, use the editing tools, use your self-editing skills when you're doing that. And if you manage to get some really great beta readers and you don't want to waste their time and you intend on using them again and again, go ahead and get a professional editor in there too before you release it. It's best.
Okay, next question. I was under the impression that hiring an editor is often charged by page or by word count. What is the advantage of doing your own edit first?
Good question. Editors are expensive and they have they're working, but it's like if you can go in and tell a doctor exactly, if you go into a doctor and you have kept a food log of everything you've eaten for the last month, and then you can tell them when the rash is coming and when the rash is going, they have a lot more information and they can focus on their knowledge and going much deeper. But if you come in the first time the rash happens and you say, I don't know, well, you're not really using the best tools and getting the best time and money investment there. And I know that's kind of a little odd comparison, but really, if you correct your grammar, your spelling, your punctuation, then the editor is not distracted the same way the beta readers are not distracted. And they're going to dig into your substantive. They're going to dig into your style, your voice, your formatting, all the things that, depending upon what level of editing you're doing, and they will give you a lot more for that time because you are paying them for the time, but it's not multiple revisions here, at least with our company. You're going through it one time and then you're getting back what you've requested. So if you want to get your best investment, do all the self-editing that you can, come in with the reports showing where your challenges are, include the type of English that you're using for, include the style and manual guide that you're playing with, include any information about your favorite editor that you're emulating or following, send any in-house style guides or recommendations or formatting requirements from your publisher, agent, whatever. And then any questions, concerns, comments, things that you've struggled with. So then you're going to get a lot more. If you just send them the manuscript and don't communicate, you're just going to get what they're interpreting. But if you communicate more, you create this great symbiosis where you can really get so much more. And believe me, editors like working with you. They want this. They want to see you succeed because you're their baby and they're helping you and they're part of that. So just communicate as much as you can and provide all that you can. And then you will get the best investment, return on your investment, because, editing can be quite an investment and it's your biggest investment of time and definitely of money before you get into the actual publication or printing.
Okay, our next question. What's the difference between line edit and copy edit?
A line edit is going to be on a higher level. It's looking through your grammar, spelling, punctuation, which is your basics, but it's also looking at your styles, your transitions, the flow, the voice, the continuity, the structure, all those different things that create the overall. So even though it may not move a chapter from one area to the other, and it's, playing this magical game where you can remove everything around, it is saying, you didn't give me that information last chapter. You didn't, I don't know where we are. You changed location. Where am I? You are speaking about she. Who is she? I need to have the proper noun. So they're going a little bit deeper. A copy editor is just going to make sure that it's right. The sentence is correct. She did this. Who is she? It's not the same. Some copy editors will a little bit more, but it's a different level of communication, a different level of process. I hope that answers it. And again, download the handouts. There's a lot more. There's pages and pages and pages, and there's more videos. So if I'm not conveying it as well tonight, I apologize. I'm sure I conveyed it well at another time.
Okay, our next question. I didn't see any discussion here about sentence flow and variation, word and phrase choice, or repetition, as in these are not mistakes or errors, but rather revisions needed for better readability. At what stage should a writer address this concern?
Absolutely. I mean, sooner is always better. So of course you're going to do that at a line edit or a copy edit. Those are when we're getting into those convoluted sentences, when it's confusing. So all of what you said there is basically the sentence isn't clear because of repetition or words like that, that goes into the jargon that we mentioned in the beginning. So it is more specific. You're absolutely right. Go into that. You should be covering that at a copy edit to make sure that you get it done, but it's much easier to cover that at a line edit at a higher level. So it's just more intense when you're on a line edit versus a copy edit. And remember, a lot of people interchange these words without really knowing what they're referring to. They'll say, oh, I'm getting it proofread, when they're actually getting a professional line edit or a copy edit, or they could be really, really deep. So be gentle with yourself. Make sure that between you and your editor, that you both agree on what you're going to get before you pay, before you move forward.
Okay, our next question. What is your advice for language settings for British writers who write in genres popular in the United States?
I would refer to which author you are emulating. Whoever your favorite author is, that if you go to your audience, start with your readers first. What the books that you read that you're trying to put in front of them, emulate that. If they're using American English, use American English. If they're using British to create a sense and a mood and a whatever it may be, then switch over that way. But because I can't see your specific manuscript, you need to go in and set your settings and tell your editor specifically to match whichever genre and whichever author that you are emulating. And if they're already succeeding, guys, do the same. Unless you're already a bestseller, that's when you get to experiment. But at the beginning, you need to follow and do, follow the path, follow the formula that has worked for so many others, so that you can get to the next level and have all those consultants in that house behind you when you're publishing.
Okay, our next question. Is there any hope for someone who can't afford big name editors?
Yeah. I mean, that's why you're here, right? ProWritingAid is highly affordable. There's other writing tools out there that are affordable. You can use them month by month, and that gets you through. Our company has been around for, well, I've been around with this company since the last 15 years roughly, and it was set up, to really ride this wave of when we started going to Amazon and everyone started doing self-publishing that, and it was all about making sure that you had a professional first image. We're not working in-house with the editors. We're not doing that level of editing in the terms of making you fit to their style of the publishing house. We're making it 100% solid, professional, proofread and proofed to a level of professionalism that you can feel confident that it's not going to ruin your reputation. So that being said, we have one of those competitive ones out there, and there's a lot of people out there. But again, if you go with a freelancer, be careful. Make sure that you have some sort of guidelines so that you can get your money back if something doesn't go as planned. But you can also do it in portions. We've done that for people. But really, with editing, if you have invested so much time and so much energy to writing this beautiful little baby that you've created, you really need to protect that. And you can't afford not to edit, especially if you are on the road to publishing. You will have to commit to it at some point. You need to make sure it's best. And maybe you don't need, and a lot of people on here, you're really, really good. Maybe you don't need the highest level of editing. Maybe it's not going to cost you thousands of dollars. Maybe you're going to go straight to copy editing because you've done the work and you've taught yourself and you know the rules and the regulations. So just trust that. But get a free sample and get an evaluation recommendation. See what the editors say once you're ready.
Okay, our next question. I'm afraid that over-editing will remove my unique voice, especially when trying to stick to the recommendations. Any encouragement to remove this fear?
Well, I think, again, if you can be creative, and I don't know what genre we're dealing with here, but you can be correct and still be creative. You just need to make it simple for your readers. So look and follow the style and patterns of your favorite writers and the audience that you're appealing to. And as long as you're matching that, that's great. And then share that with your editors. I don't find that editing, I mean, it sounds like you're worried about editing your own voice out. And that's very unique. Most of the time, people are afraid of editors removing their voice. And, all editors are trained and certified before they can come on board to make sure that they maintain that artistic value and touch. But for yourself, take it easy. Do the right thing. Listen to what the suggestions are, but don't lose yourself in it. Don't whitewash yourself away. Just make sure it's all nice in there and you're doing the best you can. I don't know if whitewash, but what do I mean? Like, don't blend it together. I use that wrong term there. Don't give in to the rules so much that you lose who you are, and make sure that you're appealing to your audience and your people.
Okay, our next question might be our last question. We have about a minute left. It says, often my authors need several rounds of edits to get the manuscript completed. Do you recommend always charging by the page or word? Hourly works better, it seems, since every job is different.
Correct. And that depends upon what your experiences are. It sounds like I've got it sounds like I have a freelancer here or an independent author or independent editor who's working. We chose to do it the way that we do because we are a large company that has, like I said, 50,000 authors coming through. We can keep them fulfilled and working. For you working on an hourly basis, that may be your best work, and you're having consultations or whatever way you're doing, you need to evaluate that yourself. You can also, I do want to mention, there are lots of professional editing associations out there that most of our editors are members in, and they do that because you really keep your status up and you keep your continuing education going along there. So check out their rates and decide what it works for you. One of the problems and the challenges that a professional editor faces when they're independent of an organization such as ours is that you are also doing all of the communication, the marketing, and all those things that take up time and energy, keeping you away from just doing what you're really good at, which is the editing. And you have to calculate that somehow into your expenses. I hope that helps. And again, contact me. We take on editors. Go to our jobs page, and we'll respond back. We can also show you that if you're looking to get continuing education, to get certified as a story coach, we can help you get connected there. I hope that helped.
Thank you so much, JoEllen. We're a minute over, so I'm sorry we didn't get to the questions, but come back next month and see us again, and we'll have more great material for you. JoEllen will be back with even more tips. So, and the replay will be up within 24 hours, and you will get an email with today's slides and some more information to help you along your way. So thank you everybody for being here, and thanks again, JoEllen. That was great.
My pleasure. See you next month. Take care.
Yes.
Have a great summer.
Bye, everybody.